Deregulation is being blamed for higher prices passengers are paying for taxi fares at Sky Harbor Airport.
Every cab has their own rates on the side of their cab, and that's to their own liking or whatever they want to charge. And if a person comes out, gets in that cab, and you take him directly to where he wants to go, it's not price gouging.
We cater to everybody in Phoenix, whether they're tourists or whether they're residents. And our rates are not even close to the comparables that they gave at the airport.
The airport would stop Air Courier and Arizona Taxi and Yellow from snatching 100, 150 scoops off the front of the airport a day. That would move the line more. The more trips a guy gets, the more he can come down in price.
It's going out of hand at the airport. There is no control. There has to be control.
While independents and fleet operators accuse each other of contributing to the problem, the city warns passengers that prices may vary because there is no control on fares. An airport spokesperson says before deregulation, things worked pretty well under a bid system with contracts going to the lowest bidder.
At the time that we did that, we had the permit system in place. And so we cut off the permit system and put in the bid basis, and the taxi people took us to court saying that, in essence saying that we had no right to just cut off the permit system, that we had to let it go its course, and they won in court. But the bid basis is one option that City Council could choose should they want to.
While some cabbies want to return to some form of regulation, others say no. Most, however, agree with airport officials that passengers must first find out exactly what fare they will pay to their destination before getting into a cab. Marcus Wright, News Center 10.
It's a good idea because at 21 you're considered an adult, and 18 you're not sure and maybe a little irresponsible.
The times have changed, even on college campuses, where the uproar over raising the drinking age has all but tapped out. It is partly because the new law is designed not to take away the right to drink from anyone who is already 19 or 20. If your 19th birthday is before January 1st, you may continue drinking legally. But if your 19th birthday is on or after January 1st, the bar is closed until you're 21. And eventually, bars will be off limits to about 140,000 Arizonans in the 19 to 20 age group. But will raising the legal age reduce illegal drinking?
You can walk into any store. You don't have to be of age. You can walk into any store and buy it. No problem.
If these kids, whether they're 14 or 19 or 20, if they want it, they can really get it one way or another. There are going to be more drinking in parking lots at the side of the road, desert parties, and in private homes, too.
And bar owners say driving young drinkers underground can only lead to trouble.
Here they have something to do. They can play pool, they can play shuffleboard, darts, pinball. There's other activities. It's not just a matter of sitting and doing nothing but drinking.
Bar owners will lose business and gain problems. They expect an upswing in the number of fake IDs and the number of protests when they refuse service to underage customers.
You can go to the Army when you're 18 without any consent from your parents. You can get married at 18. And it just seems to me that if a person wants to drink, that it's his right.
Gordon Fitzgerald says he's outraged over a plan given final approval by the Scottsdale City Council earlier this month. The Civic Center Plaza has been selected as the route for the eastern loop of the downtown traffic alignment. A 400-foot underpass would run between the Center for the Arts and the City Hall complex. It would be covered to allow the two malls to be joined. But Fitzgerald says the increased traffic would create more noise and pollution and disrupt the existing mall. He also says it's being built here for one reason only.
It's conjecture, but it seems rather obvious. There's no proof, but I think if you're a businessman, you can figure it out. The Scottsdale High property lies immediately north of this property. If they were to use a different path, it would not create a favorable real estate pricing situation in that property.
Absolutely untrue. There's been no talk about any development on Scottsdale High, any developers that might buy Scottsdale High benefiting. It's just not true. In fact, we don't even know what's going to happen to Scottsdale High. It will take a vote of the people to either sell or lease Scottsdale High School.
The alternative to the Civic Center route would have aligned the roadway along 75th Street. But the council said that roadway would have jeopardized future development of the Civic Center Plaza. So Fitzgerald has hired an attorney to draw up petitions for a referendum on the council's decision and petitions for a recall election of the 5 city council members who voted for it.
It would be a terrible thing for this community to have a recall in the community because the scars last forever and ever, and you can ask any Valley community that has had a recall.
I think they're panicking. I don't believe they understood that it took this few signatures to get a referendum, which should have been done in the first place.
You might think downtown Phoenix was centered over Osborne and Central. So many of the office buildings and retail developments have located in that area. But no, this is the perception that many people have of downtown Phoenix. The city has tried to solve the transient problem with some success, but the transients still present an image problem for developers who say they won't make a commitment to downtown in its present state. The city wants to spend $32.5 million to bring life back into downtown. It would include incentive money to get housing complexes, retail, and a third major hotel downtown. It would also include buying the Palace West Theater and spending $1 million in renovation. A city's streetscape program would include a pedestrian mall on Adams Street, running from the Palace West Theater down to the Civic Plaza. Plantings and shade shelters, proponents say, would make for an area people would actually want to go and spend time in downtown. Finally, to help move the transients out of downtown, money is set aside to buy up the old Salvation Army and St. Vincent headquarters and build a new shelter further west at 13th Avenue in Madison.
A typical afternoon rush hour along the Central and Camelback corridors. A few people are taking the bus, but it's mostly a sea of cars, and most of the cars are carrying only one person. Some city officials think the answer to rush hour traffic congestion is this, a monorail.
Everybody this monorail word seems to make people, say, gee, that's terrific, I really like that. I guess maybe because it's at Disneyland, it has a good connotation, monorail.
And City Councilman Bill Park says a monorail is not a Mickey Mouse idea. He envisions a monorail mass transit system similar to one in Europe. He has proposed a basic route that would run along the Central and Camelback corridors, carrying workers from outlying areas to their downtown jobs. Perhaps the biggest question is, where will the money come from? This kind of mass transit system is not cheap. It costs an estimated $15 million to build just 1 mile of track. Parks believes developers could help pay for the monorail instead of paying for parking spaces at their buildings.
If it's a trade-off, you see, instead of paying it towards parking automobiles, they pay it towards providing a mass transit system. They'll get, I think, better service from the transportation system, and it will cost them no dollars more.
But what about the typical Phoenix commuter who loves to drive his own car and whose capacity for sitting in traffic jams is well developed?
And while they're sitting in that traffic jam wondering if their car's going to overheat, this thing goes whoosh, overhead right downtown over all those cars. I think they're going to give it some serious thought.
The Valley of the Sun becomes a deserted oasis when temperatures creep into the hundreds. But for those of us that can stand the sweltering heat, there is relief. First-class hotel accommodations at prices as low as $19.84.
That includes the room. It includes complimentary activities in the health spa, complimentary tennis.
I think we have some clientele in the summer which probably couldn't afford our high window rate in January, February, and March.
Rooms cost as much as $190 a night during those months, but during the summer you can check into those same rooms for $20 to $75 based on double occupancy.
Summer has to be used to keep the hotel open at the best possible rate. It would cost us too much to close the hotel and reopen in the fall if we didn't do it this way.
Convention business tends to drop off because of weather and because of other areas of the country being a little more advantageous weather-wise.
You're in a pool, you're in an air-conditioned dining room, you're in an air-conditioned room. It's not that bad.
I love the hot weather. I love, the sun. Just give me a pool and a chair and I'm happy.
When you get tired of working on your tan or can't take the heat any longer, there's fine dining at regular prices. Or relax in the jacuzzi or steam room before a game of tennis.
Most Valley hotels and resorts do cut back on staffing during the summer, so you may have to get your own towel and you may have to wait a little longer in the restaurants, but you will still have first-class amenities at affordable prices. Kimberly Geis, News Center 10.
and more, we are seeing a marriage between GI uniforms and current fashion in civilian life. The owner of this Peace Surplus store in Tempe says sales in fatigue and camouflage clothing increased dramatically this winter.
We can't keep it in stock, especially the children's clothing. The pants are the most popular in children's styles. It's something that's catching on now across the nation, really. It started, I believe, in the east and on the west coast and just kind of moving toward the center.
Store manager Brent Pendleton says he noticed that sales began escalating at about the same time U.S. combat in Grenada and Lebanon began escalating. He says he's not sure if there is a correlation there or if this is just a fashion trend coincidence.
Maybe in the 60s and early 70s, it was more of a statement that they were making. Now it's more of a fun thing than it is more of a symbolic item.
Peace Surplus uses different sources when purchasing its military clothing for stock.
We get a lot of it from the Air Force bases and service bases around the area. We get them from people who buy as intermediates in between that buy in large quantity. And we get some of the new stuff from manufacturers who make it up.
I want to have more time to mess around and stuff.
I found that in 8th grade I was having kind of a hard time taking notes. I mean, like I'd sometimes borrow my friends, to study for a test or something like that, and that would help me out and stuff.
Most of them are here at Mom or Dad's suggestion, but like Lisa said, it hasn't turned out to be such a bad idea. For 2 weeks, junior high and high school students are going to Scottsdale Community College for studying tips.
We've been finding a lot of people coming into the college situation who don't have study skills, and we decided to kind of nip the problem in the bud.
The students work on note-taking, outlining, improving memory, and also finding out which study method works best for the individual student. And with 2 small classes, Polson can give each student personal attention. Like most summer classes, it's more laid back than the regular school year, but there are some reminders that it's still school.
I was talking to my friend the other night, and I said, guess what? I have homework. And she says, oh my gosh, really? Why? And I said, because I'm taking a study skills class.
What would you be doing if you weren't doing this?
Sleeping.
This is the first year the 2-week program has been offered, but it's expected to be offered again next summer. Kimberly Geis, News Center 10.